Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and I'm out this afternoon, evening, taking care of animals, and I've got a little bit of bad news to share with you guys, but I don't want anybody to be upset or sad. We lost another member of the farm last night. I came outside this morning to check on everybody, and noticed a goat had passed away during the night, and got busy all day. I'm fixing to drag her off and take her back and dig a hole with the excavator and bury her. But let me tell you, this little goat right here has been quite the legend around here. Lambert, what do you think about old gray goat? She's kind of a living legend around these parts, isn't she? Yeah, well, okay. So I guess over the years, the way the farm has kind of shifted into a different direction, and not as much of a production farm that's really, concerned about putting out the highest quality, specimens possible. Lambert's sweet and we love her. She is not what you would call a high quality number one choice Kiko doe. She was a bottle baby that was raised here and has lived here her whole life. But that little gray goat right out there is the last living descendant of our first original goats that DJ and I ever got. So Emily is 15. She'll be 16 in April. And we got our first two baby goats. DJ, my wife, brought them home in a diaper box. They were half pygmy, half boar. Two bottle babies that were just a few days old. Two goats come home in a diaper box. We named them Johnny and June. June was black and kind of looked like Skip a little bit, black and silver. And Johnny was all white with black, ears and feet and stuff. And Johnny and June lived in our house for a while. Then they moved out on the porch, destroyed chairs, destroyed grills. If you've never raised a bottle baby goat, I don't recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and it's the biggest headache you'll ever have. So Johnny and June lived here for a long time. June was probably 6 or 7 when she died in an unfortunate accident. I had a whole bunch of panels leaned up against a tree, and we were gone. They weren't in the pasture. I was turning the goats out during the day and letting them graze, and they were like horse panels that were leaned up against a tree. And goats rub on things, like Copper's doing right here. They rub on fences and they rub on trees. And I'm guessing a bunch of those goats got to rubbing on those panels and pushed them over and unfortunately smashed June. So Johnny and June were our first two. And that little gray goat right there is the last descendant of June still on our farm. And I think she was born in 2013 or 14. I have to go back and look at my book. I've got records on all the goats, but I think she was born late 2013 or early 2014. So she's right at 10 years old. That little goat right there has lived a great life around here. Probably, let's say she's born in 15, she's probably had her first kids in 16 or 17. And I bet you that little goat right there has raised 12 or 15 babies for us. She's always done really, really well. What are you two fellas out doing today? Harassing Pepper? So, like I said, there's been a shift in the way our farm has ran over the years because of social media and YouTube. And, in theory, we would have culled that doe. If we were out here trying to raise the best production line possible to get the best growth and the best kids out of our does, we would cull older does, send them off, keep replacements. But sometimes things change, ideas change, plans change. And she's been a really great little goat for us. So I came out this morning, and she had died during the night sometime, and I just assumed age finally caught up with her. 10 years is a pretty good lifespan for a goat. Nothing happened. She hadn't been sick. I did notice chickens are eating flies off of her. That's just disgusting. I did notice that the last week or so, she was moving a little slower, I think that's pretty typical. As we get older, we start moving slower and we're not feeling great, not getting around really well. And I really didn't think anything too bad was going on other than just old age. It'll happen to you too, son. Yeah. Larry, you give me knuckles a day? You a Knuckles kind of guy today? Here. You gonna give me Knuckles? There you go. So I think old age just caught up to her, and that's kind of the shift that we've made. We've got characters instead of livestock, I guess. And so I'm gonna take her back to the back of the pasture and grab the Kato excavator and dig a hole and bury her. It's kind of nice having that option now. Having that excavator right here on hand, we can bury our animals and make it much easier than trying to do it, you know, with a shovel or even the front end loader on a tractor or something. Hey, bear. And in other news, if you guys haven't seen DJ's video yet, she decided to remove Bree from her mom today. So we started the weaning process. Freedom's walking the fence, but Freedom and Bree, the little white baby here, will have a fence line in between them now. So we're gonna wean her off of her mom, let her do her thing. And we went ahead and put Phoebe in here with her just to, one, keep her company, and two, so that when we come down here and start feeding treats, Phoebe will be right in our lap. And hopefully that will make Bree more curious, because that little donkey right there is pretty wild, and that's not going to work around here. You know, farming and fishing are two of my favorite activities. You know what's not one of my favorite activities? Learning how to protect myself online. My guy's not very good at it. That's where today's video sponsor comes in, Delete Me. Delete Me makes it quick, easy, and safe to remove your personal information and your data online. As a matter of fact, they're even the #1 privacy information removal service since 2010. Now, like I said, I'm into farming and fishing. And if you think about internet safety and people that are after your information, you've got farmers and fishers. You got data brokers, they're the farmers. The data brokers are companies that are out there constantly gathering all the information about you that they can. Like, what's your puppy's name? Well, they might not want to know that. But they're going to gather information from things that are like public records, like marriage license, government information that's public information. So all of your different records, so they can go on, check through the courthouse and find addresses and phone numbers, and they're going to farm all of this information. Basically, they're going to gather information about you from all these different sources, and then they're going to sell it to people that don't like you. Now, they're going to sell it to people that want to use your information to attack you. And then there's fishers. Okay, that's what I fell for. I love fishing, but this kind of fishing I hate. So these are the people that you're constantly getting emails from that say, hey, something's happened with your Facebook login and we need to contact you. So click on this link and log into your Facebook account. They're basically fishing for your password. And I get bombarded with emails, and I'm sure you guys too, of people that are just fishing for a little information. And when they catch just a little fish, a little bit of information, they can really hurt you with it. So if you sign up for a service with Delete Me, basically they're going to go in and search you and find all of these people that are looking for your information, that have your information, and basically pull that away from them. Send them a notice saying, hey, you don't live here, this ain't your place, this ain't your stuff, get out. 7,801 listings reviewed, and 74 data brokers have my information. So you can see it's pretty important to protect your information, and Delete Me can go in and pull your private information away from these folks. So you can see in Delete Me here, they're asking if this is me or if it's a relative, and I don't know Michael Arms. Delete Me is also going to help you protect your family members, because if they get your information, they can get information on your spouse, your kids, and everything. Huge thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. You can go to joindeleteme.com/arms20 and you'll get 20% off, and you'll get your first report back in about 7 days. Well, y'all, that made short work out of what used to be a difficult task. You know, I've had multiple animals die over the years, and there's just, you know, it is what it is. Part of living on a farm, you've got life and you've got death. And, you know, honestly, that goat lived out a great life here. She's, you know, her years were just up, and that's just part of it. It isn't, nothing, wasn't neglect or nothing was wrong with her. She really wasn't sick. Just our time ends at some point. And you know what? I'm so thankful that the difference in humans and animals is we have a soul. We have a creator that pulled us from the dust of the earth and said, I'm creating you in my image. And when we close our eyes in death, there's two options, heaven and hell. And I'm thankful that someone thought so much of us to create a perfect place. And I truly believe when we close our eyes in death, just like that little goat did last night, that we are going to wake up. Hopefully, if you have put your faith and your trust in Jesus Christ, and you'll wake up in heaven the next day, or the next moment, the next second. You'll never know. I don't know. It's overwhelming to me to think about what heaven must really be like. And, you know, I've gone through a lot of loss in my life. I lost my mom I was 6 years old. My dad died when I was 21. And grandparents are all gone and everything, and most of them passed away when I was younger. Gone through a lot of loss, a lot of death, and it makes you grow up at an early age, I guess. So I'm not going to harp on this all day. I don't want anybody to be sad that we lost a goat. It's just part of life. Death is part of life, and she lived a good life here and never really wanted for much. I can promise you that. You saw how big she was. So yeah, anyways, the shed build is coming along nicely. I just got a couple more loads of rock delivered. I spent the last couple days taking deliveries of loads of rock, and I'll explain all that in just a second. We'll flash back into time and do that, and then come back here. Well, there's 3 10-wheeler loads of what we call, what's commonly known around here as 2.5-inch crusher run. And basically what that means is it's everything, the largest rocks in there are 2.5 inches in some direction, and smaller, all the way down to basically dust. And you can see this stuff was really wet. But the good thing about this stuff is if it was just all the same size rock, if it was all 2.5-inch gravel or 1.5-inch gravel, it would be like dumping out a bucket of marbles. It doesn't pack well. So this crusher run is basically something that's got a lot of dust, a lot of small particles in it, all the way up to 2.5-inch rock, and it will pack in here and be as hard as concrete. Typically on my driveway, I use 1.5-inch crusher run because you don't want those big giant rocks. 2.5-inch rocks, pretty big on your driveway. Some people use this as a base and then come over the top with smaller stuff. But for inside of a equipment shed, I think this will make a good floor. So it's not perfectly level. It is a little bit high back here, kind of drops off over there. But after we get this thing built, I'll probably haul in some more rock and level things out and just fill in low spots and things. And I think I'm gonna go to the house and get some strings and stakes and stake out kind of a generic concept of what this will look like. Well, nothing's going to come across on camera when you're trying to look at a little bitty string, but 30 feet deep, 50 feet across, 30 feet deep. And technically, it really won't be 30 by 50. It's only going to be 50 by 24 to the last post, and then there'll be an extra 6 feet, I believe, of that cantilevered roof. So technically the back wall will be 50 feet wide. Come out from the rear wall to the front 24 feet, and then the wall will stop, and then only roof for the last 6 feet. It's either 6 or 8. I think it's 6. But 50 feet wide and 30 feet deep under roof. So that'll give us plenty of room to park excavator, skid steer, multiple implements, a tractor if we need to. Who knows? It's always going to be something to put under a roof, right? So that's pretty much as far as I can go today. I'm going to need a little bit more rock to fill in over here. We didn't make it all the way quite to that wall, but one more load of that rock should do there. And I'll probably go ahead and add this out a little farther so that it kind of ties into my road, so we don't, drive in the mud to come into the gravel. So anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for now. I've done all I can do. So when I said this stuff packs up solid, it's like concrete almost. And this is just what was loose laying on the surface. So got a little bit more to do. I got 2 more loads delivered today. I had one put here so we could spread on the edge of where the barn structure is. The other load was supposed to be tailgated out on around the road. It didn't quite tailgate very well because it was so wet. It was almost muddy. And I used the skid steer to level all of that out and move it all. Make short work of a big job. Could use a tractor and a bucket, no problem. I really am curious. I thought about spreading this last load with the excavator, but I don't know that I really want to do that. I've got a little small issue with the skid steer. I noticed something didn't sound right as I was pulling up and backing up, moving that rock around the other day, and I'm missing one of the bolts in one of the rollers. Well, matter of fact, I can show you. I'm not at the skid steer, obviously. This is the excavator, but same concept. You've got, your drive gear back here, the big idler up there in the front, and you've got all these smaller ones that are just like guide rollers. I lost one of these bolts that holds this roller into place, and it's all out of alignment, and I think there's actually a spacer missing, I don't want to call it a bushing. I don't know the proper term. Anyways, so the excavator is due for service. I'm sorry, The skid steer's due for service with New Holland. I was just going to do the oil change and hydraulics and filters and all that stuff myself, but I'm going to have to get parts, so I may just load it up on Monday and take it to the New Holland dealership, let them service it and fix that pulley for me. So I'm not going to finish spreading this rock today. Like I said, I could use the excavator, and I may try it just to see the difference. It's probably not the right tool for the job, but it is a good way to get some practice with the excavator, because like I said, guys, I'm no expert on this thing. This is a whole new ball game for me, and I'm still learning. But to top it all off, I'm not gonna be able to do it right now. It's 5 o'clock on Friday evening, and I've got a hot date tonight, to say the least. Let's just put it lightly. I've got a hot date with a good-looking lady tonight. Luckily, I get to call her my wife, so we're gonna go out and have dinner. I can't work until dark today. I love this time of year. It's amazing. The days are getting longer. Spring is starting to roll around. Houston's got a buddy here. They were over at the pond fishing, caught a couple bass. The fish are starting to bite. It's the time of year to be outside in Oklahoma. So probably be right back here bright and early tomorrow morning. Okay, I think I've reached a point where my skill level on the excavator is causing more harm than good. I'm not saying someone couldn't level out this entire pad and do a good job with just an excavator bucket and the blade on the front. A lot of excavators, a lot of companies put like a four-way blade on the front of their excavator, where on the Cotto blade, all I have is up and down. And I don't have the side to side. A lot of companies have like a four-way blade where you can angle it and you can push that rock. It's kind of hard to explain it to you guys on two-dimensional camera, but you can angle the blade so when you push, it brings the rock in or pushes it out. Having just up and down, not the best tool for my purposes, for me, for my skill set. I got most of it spread around, but I think I'm gonna go put the bucket on the tractor, and it's already got the land plane on it. So I'm gonna finish spreading this with the tractor and kind of level out the road a little bit. And I just feel like I'm doing more harm than good right now. Okay, well, spreading piles of gravel may be very boring for some of you to watch and not interesting at all, but this whole process has been a very eye-opening experience. It's nothing new, but it just solidifies that having the right tool for the job makes a huge difference. Now, we're just leveling out a bunch of piles of gravel. Not that big a deal. Yes, the tractor works just fine. The land plane, it helps, not the perfect tool. The tractor bucket, when you're in the tractor, it's hard to see directly in front of you where the loader is if you're smoothing gravel. Now, this could be done, this whole project could have been done with a little small 25 horsepower open cab 2-wheel drive tractor, or even a small tractor and a box blade. It could be done. But after using the tractor and the land plane, using the excavator with the bucket and the blade on the front of it, and the skid steer with the bucket, having the right tool for the job, the skid steer by far can outwork circles around both of these other two machines in this one particular job. Spreading gravel with the skid steer, you're in perfect view of the front of your bucket. You can see all the rock, you can see, and when you back drag, you've got a lot more weight right where it needs to be, and it just does a much prettier, cleaner, neater job, much faster. I'm not just talking about excavators and tractors and skid steers. Having the right tool for the job in anything makes a huge difference. I mean, even when I go set up the pig trap and I forget my cordless impact, it takes 2 or 3 times longer to set up the pig trap because you got so many bolts to put together to put that thing in a circle. So having the right tool for the job makes a huge difference. So anyways, I guess that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for here today. I've got to go to a meeting, a board meeting for the Lake of the Arbuckles Watershed Association today. I've been a member of the LAWA, Lake of the Arbuckles Watershed Association, for, I don't know, over a year, and that's part of the group that came out and helped with our prescribed fire at Mill Creek. And I don't know, Dusty's on the board now. I need to go to the meeting just to make sure things go right? No, I'm kidding. Dusty's great. Somebody was giving me a hard time in the comments the other day and said I needed to quit aggravating Dusty. I needed to just be kind and love him. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's my brother-in-law. I think I'm supposed to aggravate him. But that's just who I am, and that's who we are. It's nothing personal. But I'm gonna go to that board meeting. I got a lot of things to do this afternoon, and I'm trying to get geared up. I've got to go help a buddy. Well, where my pig trap is, the second pig trap, I'm gonna go help Lyndall, a good friend of mine, do a big controlled burn. It's just him and I. He wants to burn a bunch of land today, underbrush and leaves and stuff, and do some clearing and cleaning. And he's been taking out a bunch of cedar trees on the property that they own. So I've got to get things done so I can get over there and go help him. So anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Wait a minute. Do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know. It just might change the world. We miss old cameraman Ron, don't we? Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.